I want to welcome everyone to the 33rd meeting of the 46th year of the Rotary Club of Dublin and Worthington. Today's invocation and Pledge of Allegiance will be offered by Al Wu.
Thank you.
Good.
Let us pray. Father, please help us to use this springtime season to revive a newness in our hearts, our homes, and in our lives. Help us to be more caring, generous, and thoughtful as we live day by day. Remind us of the beauty of spring and what new beginnings mean. Place those in our path who need help. Present us with situations where we can support others. Teach us what to pray about and give us insight on when to show compassion. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and
justice for all.
Thank you, Al. Well done. Appreciate that. Okay, now President-elect Steve, can you introduce any guests and look for happy dollars?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm looking around. I do not see any guests, so we're going to go straight into happy dollars. Who's got one? Peggy, go ahead.
Air Force left training in California, and then he's just made his way to Cheyenne, Wyoming. So he went from 78 degrees weather to 16-degree weather. So
Ooh.
he's there and safe, and he'll be there for 4 years now.
Awesome. What an exciting adventure.
Yes.
Abe, go ahead.
I would like to give $20 in. I just got. I'm sorry we don't have a public thing, so I could do this in a great production, and I can only do it like this. But anyway, I got a. I don't know if you can see it, but I got a commendation from the Ohio State House for having arrived at 90 years. And hey, not everybody has this, you know. Actually, Beth Liston was the one that promoted this, but hey, that's not. Anyway, as I said earlier to some of you, Joan and I are moving to an assisted living place because she needs help, and I am about at the end of my caretaking ability. So we'll be moving to the Friendship Village over in Columbus. So we'll see what kind of activity, what kind of presence I can have with Rotary. As long as it's Zoom, I should be able to, but otherwise, that, we'll see what happens. So
Pretty cool. Exciting stuff. We'll see you virtually, Abe. That's for sure.
did you, Jennifer, did you get that $20?
I've got it written down, Abe. It'll be on your bill.
All right. Anybody else got one more happy dollar for us? Shout it out.
Yeah, I have one. This is Darnell. And a week ago, Friday was the deadline for our scholarship applications for the Columbus State joint effort with the Worthington AM Club. And at that point in time, we only had one application. On that last day, and the last one was in at about 11 p.m., we had 9 more applications. So I was really excited. We got a total of 10.
That's excellent. Excellent. Yeah, I had talked with Darnell and I was on pins and needles too. So I really appreciate that the guidance folks came through in the end and getting quite a few applicants, and that will be a full scholarship to full tuition scholarship for 2 years to Columbus State, which can change a life quite simply. That's a tremendous piece, and thank you so much, Darnell. And the committee's got some work ahead of it to make the selection, but the program is moving along, and we all should be quite proud of what we're doing in terms of the scholarship program there in Worthington.
All right, back to you, Jim.
Okay. I'm looking for announcements. Do you want to say anything else about the scholarship, Darnell?
Yes, we also have applicants for the Dublin schools too. We have 9 for Jerome, 10 for Kaufman, and 5 for Scioto. So I'll need to get those out to the captains so that they can vet through those and get finalists and do the interviews.
Yeah. And each one of those is $1,000 scholarship, correct?
That is correct.
Rich, you had an announcement.
I do. Some of you may have heard this announcement before, but please bear with me. It won't be that long. It's about a new Paul Harris Community Service Award that our club is going to be sponsoring, up to 3 a year. It's to honor leaders in the Dublin and Worthington community who are not members of our club, and we will honor them. The club will, pay for this through points it's accumulated over the years. And I'm looking for both volunteers for the committee and also additional applications. Right now, Mary Greenlee and I are the sole members of the committee, so we would definitely like some more. I think it'll be really interesting and fun to go through applications of people in the community and figure out who we should award it to. And then second, I need more nominations. Right now I have 2. And I know that there are many people in both the Dublin and the Worthington communities that would be worthy of such a nomination. So please, we circulated the forms already through Jim, but if anyone needs one, let me know and I'll get it. All you have to do is email me and I'll get it to you. And that's my announcement, Jim.
Good. Peggy, you have an announcement. Oh, you must unmute yourself.
Hello. I just wanted as a reminder that
Whoever's got the phone, please mute. Go ahead.
next week, we will be having our first live meeting at it's the Education Building, the Board of Education Building in Worthington. Right after our meal, we will go into our bagging of our trees for the 5th graders in Dublin, Worthington area. And I would need some volunteers to stay over just maybe half hour, 40 minutes tops after the meeting and help us do that. If you would be kind enough to do that, we would appreciate it. It's right after the meeting next week. And if you have a stapler you can bring with you, please bring a stapler so we can staple the instructions onto the bags. And Arbor Day is that Friday. We will deliver the bag trees to the schools on Thursday morning. Unfortunately, I'll be out of town that Thursday. Usually Glenn and I deliver most of those. So if I had a couple volunteers, it would take to 2 schools. We have 4 schools. So if you think about that, let me know. We have to deliver it on Thursday morning before 10 o'clock. So if you're interested, give me an email or shout out and I'd be happy to talk to you about that.
Who are the 4 schools?
Okay, I knew you were going to ask me that off the top of my head. Old Sawmill, Um, let's see. That's terrible.
Well, we'll,
Evening, school.
okay.
Um, I have it written down. I don't have them all.
Oh, sorry about that.
Granby.
Oh,
One more. One more.
Is it
But they're
Chapman
all-
in Dublin? Chapman, is that the other one in Dublin?
Yes,
I'm not
Chapman.
remembering.
Yeah. And we have, so if you get there at 10 o'clock, it doesn't take long to get from one school to the next, just a few minutes. So I'd appreciate that help. And I'll have the names on the boxes. So if you decide to do that, the name's on the box, you just put in your GPS and it'll get you there. And all you have to do is tell them that you're there with the Dublin Worthington trees, and they'll know who you are and they'll direct you to the office.
thanks so much for you, Peggy, organizing it. We appreciate the effort, especially under these extraordinary times.
No, they're excited about it.
We have an announcement regarding next week's meeting. Again, it will be a hybrid meeting, meaning that you can come either in person or on Zoom. If you're coming in person, you do need to reserve a lunch or state that you're having only coffee. Steve has put up the link. We sent out a link earlier in the week, and we'll send it out again here today or tomorrow. And you will fill in your email address, your first name and last name. Then you make a choice between two menu items, or you're only having coffee and water, or you're not attending, or you'll be attending by Zoom only. And we need everyone to confirm. I will be rechecking these against your survey, but I don't want to have to make a lot of calls. And I do want everyone to get on and indicate what they're doing. And then you can, at the bottom there, go back down, you can send a copy of your response. And you just simply submit that, and it'll come back to you that you're confirmed for the meeting. You will then not be, check-in will not occur. What will happen is that you will be billed for your lunch through your confirmation. If you do not confirm a lunch and just come in, you will only receive a lunch if someone doesn't attend. And those folks who do miss, please be aware that you're still going to end up getting billed unless somebody claims your lunch. But we're not wanting to do registration at the event itself to reduce exposure and difficulties with COVID. So what we do want you to do is respond to that email as quickly as possible. I want you to respond, if at all possible, by noon on Friday. So it's very quick. As you saw, it's only a matter of a couple minutes to get your confirmation. We're also trying to get folks into this habit, along with seeing if we can continue to do this as we register breakfasts and lunches. The next face-to-face will be on the 12th of May. The 5th of May will be again on Zoom. That gives us enough time to make adjustments in our programming and registration so that we can make sure that the meeting on the 12th also goes well. So, and we will then, the Committee on Club Meetings will make a determination of how we move forward in the future. Will we go to all hybrids, or just keep it twice a month? Where we'll go with that.
Jim, you might review what are the conditions or the regulations governing the attendance.
Okay, it is simply what the social distancing will be required. You'll come in through the front door. We ask before you come into the building that you are wearing your mask. You'll wear your mask throughout, except for when you're eating and seated to eat. We will have a separate area where you'll pick up the box lunch. It is a box lunch and you'll dispose of it. So there is minimal handling of those items. And we will have you socially distanced at your tables. It is at the Worcester School Board offices, main offices, at 200 West Bridge Street. And that area, the area they're allowing us to use is quite large, and we're pretty sure we'll be able to keep that social distancing there. Yes.
Jim, can I chime in with the address, because that was not the correct address?
Oh.
It's a Worthington Education Center, and it's at 200 East Wilson Bridge Road in Worthington 43085.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure we all get to the right place.
Yes. Right. It was correct on the email, but I just said
Yes.
it. Yes. Okay. Any other questions or comments? It was, let's see.
Jim, should I get there early to help set up the tables for the trees, or can I do that while you're eating lunch?
We can, probably the best thing is to come there early.
Okay.
It's going to depend on how we get lunch set up, and it is actually in a separate room that we're setting it up, and the number of registrants. So,
Okay.
but I would plan to set it up early, and that we can then, or possibly after the meal has been served, setting it up during. We could talk about that once we have a good number of the number of registrants and what the room setup is going to look like.
Thank you.
Yes, Jennifer.
Another question, sorry, and we'll have to maybe talk about this after. Everything I've seen says our lunch and our meeting is at the Education Center, and that the tree packaging is at the Marolo Pavilion, which are a couple miles apart. So
No, the last one is, yeah, it is there. We're not going to do it at the Marolo. We thought we might have to, but everything that we've put out so far is that it's right after the meeting. I don't think we said the Marola afterwards.
okay, we got to look into it and clarify with everybody.
Okay, I'll check the email again. But I can send that out with the registration again too. It will be held there.
I've never seen anything from us that said anything about Marola.
Okay. Yeah, earlier we had thought that might have to occur, and some of the things that went out to the board and others did say Marola at one point.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'll recheck that and confirm that in the email I send out today. Okay, other questions? Again, it should be a fun meeting. We're going to do the drawing. We will have, I'll announce the speaker, but it's going to be face-to-face, and we will be doing the Arbor Day, which means that the meeting is a pretty packed. And Arbor Day will occur after the meeting itself. So we ask folks if they can stick around to please do so to help out. Joe, are you on?
I am, and I'm prepared to introduce our speakers. Let me say something about next week though, first, for just a moment. And that is if anybody needs additional motivation to foray out of their COVID-19 cocoons for next week, our speaker will be the Dean of the OSU College of Veterinary Medicine. He will be doing a talk on the power of a pet. And I am reliably informed that he will be bringing his four-legged friend or a couple of them with him. So there you have it. That might be a reason for you to stay home, but I hope it's an inducement. But I'm very delighted to introduce our special guests today from Special Olympics of Ohio, and we have three of them. I think Jessica Stewart, the CEO, is going to be doing the yeoman's work of the presentation primarily, but Christine Hoyer, the Chief Development Officer, is on the call with us, and so is Tara Williams, the athlete leader for the organization as well. So she may well be chiming in as well. So thanks for coming to tell us about what your organization does, and I'm sure people will be glad to hear it. I think I know a little bit because we've had some association with you through the years, but thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much, Joe. And we certainly appreciate you inviting us here today. It is the highlight of my day, as always. I can talk for hours, which I promise you guys I won't do, about Special Olympics Ohio. And Joe and Carlisle, Patchen and Murphy have been huge supporters and generous supporters of Special Olympics Ohio. So thank you, Joe, for the invitation. And thank you all very much for the opportunity to talk today. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started, but I did want to let you know that, as Joe had mentioned, we have Christine Hoyer. Christine is our Chief Development Officer. I've been with the organization as CEO for a little over 3 years, and it has been an absolute pleasure every step of the way. And Christine joined the organization back last February, so right before the pandemic and COVID had hit. So Christine has been crucial, and we're going to talk a little bit more today too about how we've pivoted in the COVID environment, as everybody has. Companies, organizations, businesses, everybody has to do things a little differently. So Christine will talk about her work in the past year in COVID, but it is my honor to have Tara join us today. So Tara Williams is one of our athlete leaders, and she is also on our board of directors. And she'll talk a little bit as we dive in today about our athlete leadership and how important that is within our organization to have the voice of our athlete really heard. And obviously they are why we are here. And Tara can speak a little bit about her position as an athlete leader, and also you can hear from an athlete. So pretty exciting. So we're happy to be here. And with that, I am going to go ahead and do I need to reshare my screen, Jim, or do you guys have that available?
Go ahead. Reshare, please.
Oh, sure thing. Just wanted to make sure. I thought for some reason there was you guys were flipping back and forth, and I was really impressed. I'm like, I don't have this technical savvy at all. So again, thank you very much. We are Special Olympics Ohio, and well represented today. So I am going to jump in. Perfect. So I just want to take a minute to talk about our mission here at Special Olympics Ohio. And we are the premier sporting organization that provides year-round training for sports and competition in a variety of different athletic sports and Olympic style sports for both children and adults with intellectual disabilities. That's the one thing we'll talk a little bit more about too, as we get further in on the slides. But I'm excited to tell you guys that our average age of our athlete is in the early 30s. So many times folks think our organization is around children. And I will let you know that even though we have many children that are involved, we also have many more adults as well. So we are really looking at giving our athletes the continued opportunities to develop themselves through physical fitness, and also through demonstrating courage, joy, and participating in sharing their gifts with us, their skills and their friendships amongst themselves, amongst families, other Special Olympics athletes, and most of all, the community in which they live and work. So, and compete. Special Olympics Ohio, we're pretty complex in the structure. We are an independent 501c3 organization. So we are accredited up to Special Olympics International. We are among 52 programs in the United States. I use 52 because we have a couple we have two in California, And then we also have one in DC that's specifically over the Washington, DC area. So with that, we have in Ohio, we have 120 plus, I'm going to use the plus because we have a little bit more than that, but more like 130 local programs across all 88 counties in Ohio. So I want to speak to in terms of the local programs that we have here in Ohio. And even though we have the state office that sits right here in Columbus, we have the grassroots and the magic of the organization is happening with 120 local programs throughout all of our communities and counties in Ohio. With that, our grassroots, our local programs are serving over 20,000 athletes with intellectual disabilities. And I love talking about intellectual disabilities because, as you will soon find out when you talk to Tara, we have such a wide, diverse range of intellectual disabilities that we serve through Special Olympics Ohio. We have 120 officially diagnosed intellectual disabilities that folks can be part of the organization. So it's pretty diverse and pretty vast. And we love the diversity and the inclusion with all of those with intellectual disabilities. In our local region and state activities, this map here is broken out by our 4 regions, just to kind of give you a broad stroke overview of our regions. We are here sitting in the South Central region, which is Franklin County, and then all of the white. We have the Northeast region, the Northwest region, and then the Southwest region of the state. We have regional directors and managers who oversee all the programming and fundraising in a lot of ways that happen within those 4 regions. And then they in turn are part of the state office staff. So kind of to give you guys an idea that there is something happening every day in every community. And even with COVID, and I'm not going to steal Christine's thunder, who's going to talk about that, but we still had activities going on just about every day in different communities across the state. So a little bit about our structure there. Any person over the age of 8 who has been diagnosed with an intellectual disability is eligible to participate in Special Olympics. Now, I do want to make a quick note on that. We have a young athletes program that is really taking off. Many of our local programs and local organizations do have a young athletes program. And that is really the pipeline to getting young athletes, excuse me, involved in the organization. And many of the young athlete programs are very inclusive in nature. So they include young children and students that without intellectual disabilities as well. We know how important that is to get everybody in the same court, on the same playing field, and really understanding differences and really working on inclusion at a very young age. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in our schools initiatives later in the presentation. But I did want to let you guys know if there's 7, 6, 5, and all the way down that want to get involved, we have a place for them within the organization. And hopefully we'll get them into the pipeline so when they do turn 8, they can officially compete in our athletic competitions. And once again, I wanted to make a note that there are no costs ever to any athletes or families to participate. That speaks to the crucial need of fundraising and raising resources to support the athletes of Special Olympics Ohio. So this picture down in the lower left-hand side that says we're from Ohio was my first year that I started in Special Olympics, and Tara was there as well. That was our USA Games that took place in 2018 in Seattle, which was fantastic. And we had a delegation of just over 100 that went to Seattle to represent Team Ohio. Pretty exciting stuff. And next year, we're in the process right now of selecting, where we're looking at those eligible athletes right now to make up our Team Ohio delegation to be our team that we take down to Orlando in 2022 USA Games in June. So pretty exciting to know that we go from local competition to regional to state to USA Games. And then we even had 2 athletes that traveled to World Games in Abu Dhabi in 2019. I was like sighing a relief after knowing what happened in 2020, because that really would have put a damper on our World Games in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. So I'll let you guys know that we've got a lot of opportunity for our athletes if they choose to have that. We offer 18 different individual and team sports. Here in Ohio, the 18 sports are really driven by the grassroots interest of our organization. So we have anywhere from snow sports to ice skating to downhill skiing to swimming, which you see here. I think the picture over on the left is actually the downhill skiing, alpine skiing that we do up in the Cleveland area. So that's a picture from there. Some of our rock star skiers. Swimming, obviously, in the middle. There's also cheer, which we just add competitive cheer. And then gymnastics, obviously, is over on the right-hand side. So a lot of our team sports include basketball, flag football, soccer. We do golf. We have, equestrian. Tara is a tennis player, basketball, all kinds of super fun team sports as well. So if you're interested in learning more, I'm sure you can check out our website. It has all the sports that we do listed. So with that, I'm gonna kind of pause, big picture overview of the sports that we offer. But before I hand this over to Christine, I did want to let you know that we are so much more than sports, and sports is our catalyst. It's really what drives us, and it's really what's woven into everything that we do. But there are other areas of the organization that Christine and Tara are going to talk about here that I think are very critical in helping move the disability population and those with intellectual disabilities to a better place, to be stronger leaders, to be healthier, and to really look at diversity and inclusion, and how our athletes can invite us into their circle instead of the other way around. So with that, I know if you have questions, we hope to have enough time at the end to be able to answer those. But I am going to toss this over to Christine at this point to talk about our Healthy Athlete initiatives. So Christine, it's all yours.
Thank you so much. And to all of you here on this call today, thank you for having us. It's always my pleasure to be able to talk about the incredible work that we do for the 20,000 athletes at Special Olympics Ohio. And even more so as we start navigating in this healthy athlete space. We recognize that 1 in 3 adults between the ages of 18 and 44 that have intellectual disabilities, they have unmet healthcare needs due to the costs associated with those healthcare needs, but also accessibility. And so in recognizing that, Special Olympics North America wanted to put together a program that allowed free health screenings and education in a way that allowed our athlete population to feel comfortable and to lose the anxiety associated with introducing themselves to healthcare professionals and medical professionals that wanted to offer this help. And so Healthy Athletes not only allows our athletes to have access to some of these areas that you see on this slide, but it also allows healthcare students and professionals to expand their knowledge and the best practices that are out there in administering these much needed screenings to our athlete population. It's remarkable for me to hear and to learn from healthcare professionals that they don't get the opportunity to provide these screenings to those with intellectual disabilities because they've never been trained or equipped with ways in the curriculum that gives them that information. So we know that our athletes have great needs just like all of us do in the medical space. And so being able to provide the following disciplines when we bring our athletes together for many of our state competitions, we provide what we call a health fair. And so our athletes are invited to come through and to speak to medical professionals in these various areas: fit feet, physical therapy and just fitness initiatives, healthy promotion, just talking about dietary needs and things that our athletes need to be mindful of in their daily habits. Healthy hearing, allowing these athletes to have actual hearing screenings with professionals there to administer them. MedFest, so all athletes have to have a physical exam, a sports physical exam, in order to participate in Special Olympics athletics. And so we at our games will provide access to the athletes getting those exams. Vision screenings, dentistry screenings, and smiles, we call it special smiles here. And then strong minds. The one thing that has been ever present with COVID in this past year that we've just come through is that our mental health has been challenged from a typical human being, much even more so to those with intellectual disabilities, because oftentimes they don't quite understand the enormity and the whole meaning behind a pandemic. So making sure that we are staying connected and allowing our athletes to feel connected to us so that their emotional well-being is top of mind has been so important to us. So Healthy Athletes, again, is a program that is really giving us a broader view on how we can advantage all of those that we serve here at Special Olympics. Jessica, do you want to? Thank you.
Sorry about
Another
that, Kristen.
initiative.
My click didn't work. Sorry about that.
No problem at all. So another program that has been initiated over the last couple years is something that I'm extremely proud of. Jessica mentioned that I started in February of 2020. Well, one of the very last activities that I was able to participate in person was an athlete leadership meeting that took place at our Winter Games last February. And it was the first time that I got to meet this council. We have an athlete leadership council made up of, I believe, 10 individuals. These are athletes that have been elevated by their peers and also by their local coordinators to serve as leaders and voices for the 20,000 athletes that we serve. And so that's why I'm so proud to have Tara with us today, because she is one of our athlete leaders. The purpose of this program is to define what leadership is, not only from the organization that we serve, but also to be able to give guidance to these athlete leaders that we recognize and teach them ways that they can integrate their leadership skills in and around the community. Because they represent such a great majority of our population, those with disabilities, it's really important to have them at the table and at these meetings so that you can truly see that leadership forms across all demographics and across all areas of our population. And so providing some guidance and some structure and some leadership training to our athlete leadership population has been a vital and a very important part, because then they can go back and help lead their local programs and serve as mentors and somebody that can really be poised to help the rest of the athlete population grow and understand and thrive in the Special Olympics arena. So I'd love to just introduce Tara at this time so that she can speak on behalf of her background with Special Olympics, but even more so, how this leadership role has given her a voice to communities like this Rotary and to other communities, businesses in the community. So Tara, would you like to say a few words at this point? Are you muted there, Tara?
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So first off, I want to thank you all for letting me be here today and speak to you about my involvement with Special Olympics. I've been an athlete with Special Olympics for a little over 30 years now. I started when I was in first grade, and I've played basketball, softball, track, tennis, gymnastics, swimming, volleyball. So I've done them all, but my main sports are golf, tennis, and basketball right now. I am also an athlete leader, which was presented to us a while back to become an athlete leader for all the athletes within Ohio. I am on the board of directors, first athlete to be on the board of directors, to be able to voice my thoughts, opinions, and anything along those lines for the athletes. I am also chair of the ALC Council, Athlete Leadership Council, that Christine was talking about. And I lead the athletes in discussions about how we can change some things, how we can improve some things, how we can, what we can bring as athletes to other athletes. So it's been a awesome experience. I've never imagined in my life before this that I would be able to become an athlete leader and that we would be able to be a part of planning and different things with Special Olympics Ohio. I also have a full-time job where I work at an engineering company as an administrative assistant. So not only does Special Olympics help me, it helps me also be a leader within my company that I'm a part of. So if you guys have any questions for me of any sort, I would be happy to answer them. But Special Olympics has been a huge part of my life, and I'm not quite sure what I would do without it. But it keeps me busy and on my toes, and I really, truly enjoy it.
Another example, real quick, and Tara just reminded me this as she was talking, the Columbus Foundation here in Central Ohio has invited myself and another individual to participate in a scholarship process. So they have 3 scholarships that they are going to be administering and gifting to 3 lucky high school students. And they have asked, and they asked me this year to invite an athlete to help us with identifying who the most appropriate individual students that should be deserving or be the recipients of these scholarships. So Tara and I are going to take a look at some applications and student resumes so that we can help award and help have an opinion on who is awarded these scholarships. So again, it's proven that integrating our athletes into decision-making opportunities like this is just really showing the type of organization that we are. We want to provide these opportunities for everyone. And so these are just a couple examples of how we are doing that in the space of athlete leadership.
I will also add in about Tara. So Tara has also been a global leader for representing Ohio, but more importantly, representing the voice of the athlete in the global strategic planning process. So Tara has done so much more than just Ohio. It was a year ago in December, Tara went with me out to New Jersey for a leadership summit. We were chosen and selected to do as up and coming leaders of Special Olympics, and Tara was also selected for that. So, and Tara is one of many athletes who have opportunities like that we are, consistently looking for opportunities to lift the voice of the athlete. And I think as you guys can see for yourself, Tara is really good with that. And she does tell us when we need to redirect some things or look at things a little differently. She's very, hey, have you guys thought about this? I'm like, that's a really good point, Tara. So it's always great to have her as a really nice counterbalance sometimes to, I think, just driving business. Sometimes she'll pull us back and say, you might want to think about this or look at this a little differently. So we truly value our athletes. So excellent. All right. All right, Tara, I will move to the next slide. Try to move to the next slide. There we go. Thank you, Tara, and thank you, Christine. I'm going to pick up this slide and talk a little bit about our Unified Champion Schools, and then I will turn it back over to Christine. This is one of the areas we have, on the last slide that you saw was opportunities for us to go to our Hill Day, which we traditionally do in Washington, D.C., where we really advocate for funding to support Special Olympics North America across the United States. And one of our asks is really to the US Department of Education for a significant amount of money that then comes back down to our state programs to be able to implement change within, and it's really systematic and systemic change within our school systems. So one of our initiatives that we are doing is our Special Olympics Unified Champion Schools. I'm really excited to announce that Special Olympics North America has selected Columbus as one of 10 cities to really grow and expand our Unified Champion Schools in an urban environment. So we've already really started working, done quite a bit in the Cleveland space, and Columbus is next. So we are getting a large grant from Special Olympics North America, which is the federal funding that comes down to really grow our Special Olympics Unified Champion Schools within Franklin County, but specifically within the largest school district in the state, which is our Columbus City Schools. So we already have a very, very strong Special Olympics program in Columbus City Schools. So this is really going to be that next step, or that additional funding that can really be that catalyst to really drive our Unified Champion School initiatives. And again, I had made a nod to the fact that this really is about systemic change, and it's really equipping young people with the tools and the training to really look at full inclusion, to change the hearts and minds, attitudes, and behaviors of young people. And it's really about inclusion. There are 3 different components that really factor into our Unified Champion Schools initiatives. But to sum it all up, it's really about unified sports, which means typical athletes and students with those with intellectual disabilities, and it's really putting them together to really change not only the lives of those with intellectual disabilities, but I think more so what we've seen is this pivot on the impact that this initiative really has on typical traditional students. So it's really equipping them with growing up in an environment that's very different, that works on that social and emotional learning component. That is a box that many schools have to check. So we're really excited about the fact that we are going to be staffing up, meaning we're going to have some additional resources that we're putting into place staffing wise. I'm currently have a position open for a senior director of Unified Champion Schools. So I'm starting a first round initial interviews on Friday. So looking at somebody to really champion this and lead this initiative throughout the state of Ohio. So after we get that person in place, I'd really like to get another staff member who sits in the Columbus City Schools to really help our Special Olympics program with more support around growing Unified Champion Schools in all of the schools within the Columbus City Schools. So pretty excited about that, and looking forward to really growing the inclusive climate and looking at systemic change within the school systems of really reducing bullying and attitudes, negative attitudes and behaviors toward those with intellectual disabilities. But I think it's even more so outside of intellectual disabilities. It's really looking at all people inclusively, how we can change the hearts and minds of our young folks. So pretty exciting work that we're doing. Again, it is sports, but not everybody's into sports. So this is really that inclusion piece of the organization that we're really trying to drive. So more to come on that, and hopefully, kind of be watching for that, because this is really about the entire Columbus community rallying around our schools and this unified approach to inclusion and the new day of our young folks. So more to come on that as we move forward, but I'm really excited about that, and really excited to see, where we can go with that. So with that, I will turn it over to Christine to talk a little bit more about what we have done during the COVID environment. And Christine, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, super excited to share that although the pandemic hit many organizations and all human beings in some way, shape, or form, we saw huge impact of on our athletes. And we recognize that we need to continue to stay connected. We need to continue to care for our athletes, and we need to also provide to the athletes in a way that we traditionally have not. Many nonprofit organizations were trying to justify their existence. And I found immediately that we needed to continue to deliver our mission. It may not look like the same delivery that we've seen for 50 plus years. So I mentioned connecting, staying connected to our athletes. We did that by offering a lot of virtual programming throughout the 9 months or so that our athletes were at home and not able to be on the fields and in the gymnasiums. This allowed them to connect to their friends and neighbors and those individuals that they'd participated with in activities for decades in many cases. We also initiated a art auction, which was really fun. We had a donor who said that they would provide canvases to any athlete that wanted to be a part of our first ever statewide art competition. And this lovely picture of this young man on the far left, that's an example of the piece that he painted, and that piece was entered into an auction that we held here in Central Ohio. And it provided us an opportunity to, again, offer something to engage with our athletes, but also keep them connected to this organization that had served them for many years. The center photos are pictures of a beautiful partnership. Many of you might know the name Lindy and Fonte, but they have established a foundation here in Central Ohio that helps the youth and those that are less advantaged opportunities to engage by way of sports. And so these sports bags were created and paid for by the Lindy and Fonte Foundation. And we partnered with the Lindy and Fonte Foundation and provided sports kits in a bag to about 500 athletes in a couple different very challenged areas in the state. We went up to Toledo one day and offered these. That's where the picture on the bottom is, where we offered these bags to some athletes, some school-aged athletes that came through a procession, driving their cars. The parents paraded through and picked up these bags. But it was a way for us to show that we are constantly thinking of our athletes, and we wanted to provide, if not on the courts, then at their home, an opportunity to play sports. And then lastly, the other thing that we did is we had to redirect some funding that we received. And we decided that the best way to do that was to provide some PPE to a great portion of our athlete population. We partnered with Homage here in Central Ohio, a great business, and they created these masks that had our Special Olympics Ohio logo on them. We also have a wonderful partnership with Bath & Body Works. They provided us with, I think, 5,000 bottles of hand sanitizer. And then we were able to, with the grant, we were able to purchase the little holders for those hand sanitizers. Additionally, we were able to provide thermometers through this grant, water bottles, and we've put together over 4,000 care packages that I personally, along with a number of our staff members, delivered to the local programs the week before Christmas. And this was a means for us to say, we are thinking of you, your care is top of mind and a priority to us. And so getting those into the homes of our athletes, you know, during this time where we're normally celebrating with family and friends, but just to make sure that if in fact they were going to be out and about, that they were armed and had the tools to keep them safe and healthy. And then lastly, just as a fun example of this crazy person jumping into a pool of water, what you don't know, there's no snow on the ground, but that was during the month of February. We did our first ever virtual polar plunge campaign, and we raised over $200,000 by the participants that did peer-to-peer fundraising throughout the state of Ohio. We traditionally raise about $350,000 in our typical and historical polar plunge season, but I was really pleased to see the creativity and the willingness for participants to dive in, no pun intended, but to be a part of this year's campaign. It's the premier fundraiser that we do as an organization. So for us to be able to, again, stay relevant and to raise money in a very challenging environment, I think proves to how we managed in this COVID world. And really quickly, I'd like to turn it back over to Tara for her to share with you her personal experience with COVID and how it impacted her as a Special Olympics Ohio athlete.
Are you there? Can you
Yep,
hear
we're
me okay?
here. We can hear you.
So it's honestly just been great. I mean, we haven't been able to get out and play sports as much, but we have been able to do like We Thrives, and I've done multiple things with. We did our own polar plunge, and it's been very different, but we've been able to manage, and I think the athletes are enjoying it as well. In all, we miss our sports, and we know we will get back to it eventually, but having these We Thrive events and different things that go on with Zoom, it's a great experience as well. So
Thank you, Tara. So lastly, I think we just want to be able to maybe answer some of the questions that you all had by providing you with ways that you can engage in Special Olympics activities. First of all, there is a Westerville local program, and I've met a handful of those athletes, and you are more than welcome to get involved in your local program, or you can get involved from a more global perspective in some of our state events or activities that we host here at Ohio State University in a normal year. But the easy things that you can do is just follow us on social media. Check out our Facebook page, Instagram, or even LinkedIn. You can find myself, Tara, and Jessica all on LinkedIn, and that'll keep you up to date with the current activities that we're doing. You know, spread the word. You're hearing so much today. We didn't want to overwhelm you. We wanted to give you kind of an overarching tutorial on Special Olympics Ohio, but tell a neighbor, a friend, or somebody that you share a home with. Tell them about Special Olympics. It's important for us to be able to talk about the great work that we're doing as an organization. And so we ask those of you that are on the call today to just talk about us. Volunteering. We have over 11,000 volunteers in and around the state of Ohio. And we are always looking for interested participants to come out and to be as easy as a fan in the stand. It's not heavy duty, roll up your sleeve volunteerism. It can simply be come out and watch and feel the impact that our athletes are seeing and participating in when they participate in our games. I mentioned before that there's a local program that's in Westerville, but you can get involved in so many other activities that are in and around Franklin County here in Central Ohio, or specifically in Westerville. But we would love to engage you in some of the smaller scale activities that are done more regularly, as opposed to the one-time event that we host each summer with summer games. Our fundraising efforts, we're always looking for those that are interested in joining any type of fundraising activity that we host. And so to learn about those, you can come to our website, and we're more than happy, and we keep that pretty well up to date on how you can form your own fundraiser or be a part of one that the Special Olympics Ohio team is organizing and executing for the statewide participants. So just going to our website, you'll learn so much more about ways that you can support us. This year, just to give you an idea, the summer games, as I've said, are different because we can't host them at Ohio State University. So we are so excited to share that Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center and the colleges of, Jessica, help me out here. It's the health colleges are going to be our, yes, they're going to be our presenting sponsor to take OSU to our athletes at home. And so we will be doing Summer Games Reimagining and have a very robust and comprehensive calendar of activities that will allow our athletes to participate in summer games throughout the month of June in the comfort of their own communities. So we are more than happy to share that calendar of activity, but you could also find that on our website. And again, I'm sure there are going to be questions that you think of after this meeting or in conversation with friends and family members. So please jot down my contact information. I welcome your questions. I love to talk about Special Olympics Ohio, as you can tell. But most importantly, if there is something that you want to learn about, or if you'd like to be involved, please don't hesitate to check out our website so that you can learn more about those areas that we greatly need support. So thank you so much again for having us here. And I think we might have a couple minutes to answer any questions if we haven't done that throughout our presentation.
We can take one or two. We've run over a little bit, so yeah. Are there any questions? Okay. Can you stick around for additional comments or questions after the meeting? Yeah.
Christine, are you available to do? I apologize. I've got to jump off on another call, but Christine can probably stick around. Is that okay, Christine? Are you good?
Most certainly I can.
Okay.
Sure.
So I will stop my screen share and I will tell you all, I believe I can, sorry guys, trying to end my screen share. There we go. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. I apologize. I got to jump off to another call, but thank you for your time. And please let us know if there's anything we can do. Christine and Tara, I think, are still here. So see you guys later. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for Jessica, for you to present along with the other folks from Christine and Tara.
And Tara.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming today. I think Joe has talked about our speaker next week, Dr. Rustin Moore, Dean. He's the Dean of Veterinary Medicine at Ohio State, and will be speaking on the power of a pet and use his own animals to demonstrate. So I encourage you to attend next week. We have a lot of activities that we'll be doing, and appreciate everybody's participation today. In closing, I'd like to do the four-way test and have everyone repeat after me. Christine has agreed to stick around, so if anyone wants to ask additional questions, Christine will be here. Of the things we think, say, and do, first, is it the truth? Second, is it
fair to all concerned?
Third,
will it build goodwill and better friendships?
And fourth,
will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Again, thank everyone for participating today. And if you have to jump off, we understand that. But if you can stick around for additional conversation and are interested, please do so. Yes. Okay. Yeah, Christine, are there specific activities planned for the Dublin and Worthington areas at this point?
So we most certainly are waiting on that calendar, and we should be able to provide that calendar of activity by the end of this week, actually. We're working with our regional manager that's based here in Columbus, and that's exactly what he's doing. He has actually sent out a Sign Up Genius to the local programs to make sure that we have teams that are signed up. But the next step is building out that calendar so we know exactly when and where those activities and those games are going to be planned.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, Christine?
Hi, Roger.
Do you know who I am?
Of course I do.
Okay.
I didn't see you initially. Absolutely.
Well,
It's lovely to see you.
This is Barb and Bill's daughter-in-law. Yes.
That would be me. Yes.
Good job.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to be here.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
And I just wanted to say, I see Jeff Kunkler, my partner, has joined on. And Jeff is on the Special Olympics Ohio board and was kind enough to suggest this opportunity. And I am very grateful, as I'm sure we all are, that he said, hey, you know what would be a good idea, and helped bring it about. Thanks again.
Yep, absolutely, Joe. And Christine and Jessica were doing a great job. So I just happily sat here quietly observing.
Well, thank you for joining. And do you have any other additional comments that you'd like to make?
Oh, no, I think they got it. So thank you all for letting us have this forum. It's an awesome organization, and having access to an athlete like Tara is great. That's really what our mission is all about, is our athletes. And so what she shared and what Jessica and Christine shared really kind of covered it. But I wanted to try to make it at noon, but was a couple minutes late with a client meeting. But thank you all for giving us this opportunity.
Hey, Joe,
Hey,
tell
Bonnie,
me
how you doing?
Tara's last name. I want to be sure I get it right.
Tara?
Tara's last name.
Williams.
Williams, okay.
Tara, I have a question for you, and that is that if you had a wish for Special Olympics, what would it be?
To get back out and playing in competition right now.
I can understand that. Yep.
We're ready, that's for sure.
Yeah, good.
You know, I had the pleasure of speaking to a parent of a Special Olympics athlete, and he said, you know, it's so often that that we talk about, the community talks about Special Olympics and providing sports and activities, but what we really don't talk enough about is the community and the friendships that we provide to this athlete population. Oftentimes when, you know, athletes are integrated into regular school districts, excuse me for my phone in the background, you know, they seem to navigate themselves very well into the population. But when they come to a Special Olympics activity, they're with like-minded and like others that look like them, that act like them. And so it's created lifelong friendships for these individuals. And, you know, it's a safe space for them to feel connected and to really thrive, quite honestly. And so when we shut down with COVID, to pull those friendships and to not give access to the individuals that we serve, you know, their friend groups, it was really troubling for them. So that's why we attempted to pivot immediately to this online platform to really work to provide a space for our athletes to communicate, to have, you know, conversations, and to be able to connect with one another again. So we can't wait to get our athletes back on the field for the sole purpose of providing them fitness, but the emotional challenges that we've seen with our athletes is overwhelming. And so that's really why too, it's important for us to get our athletes back and to make those activities, you know, better than ever before. So that's where the funding is really essential on my part, is to be able to elevate the competitions and the games, and to really look at what the athletes are in need of right now, and then to provide those resources to elevate the experiences for our athletes.
Christine, I want to tell you, I have a nephew who lives in Las Vegas, and he is retired Navy person. And so when he got to Las Vegas, he wanted to get a job, and he got a job working for a tour company. And his favorite tours were to take Special Olympic kids to Disney World or Disneyland, whatever it was. He said, those are the favorite, that's the favorite thing that I do. And he doesn't work for the company anymore, but he still keeps saying, I miss those Special Olympic kids.
Yes, I hear you. I've missed them too, trust me. I have a nephew who has Down syndrome. He just turned 18. And so for me to find an organization that I can truly know that we are doing something to change lives, it's been very eye-opening and reassuring that I know that the great work that I do every single day is going to help better the lives of those that might be less fortunate, you know, in their area of space that they have a deficiency. Any other questions that I can answer for each of you?
Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you.
You bet. It's our pleasure. Anytime we can talk about this work and this important cause, it's our pleasure.
Thanks again.
Thank you again. Yeah. And everyone have a good day. We appreciate again, Tara and Christine, your help today. And keep up the good work as a board member.
Jeff Kunkler, he is a model, a role model, let me tell you. If anyone wants to learn how to be a great board member, introduce yourself to Jeff Kunkler. He's fantastic. We're so grateful we have him.
Let's just say I heard about the polar plunge a few hundred times.
He was our top fundraiser, quite honestly. He knows how to reach his network, let me tell you. It's impressive.
That's good. Take care.
All right. Thank you all again.
Thanks,
Have
everyone.
a great day.
You
Enjoy
too.
the sunshine.